much more. Wild stories you've not heard before. Echoes through the air they roar. Unleash the beast, let your spirit soar. Fists in the air, the crowds ablaze. Moments that seal the mundane's haze. No fear, no hold in this maze. Reach the peak of these wild days. It lives, Friday night lives. You die, but Friday night lives. Hosted by Dead Pit Radio. Stuntman, Marq, and ramboraphMatt. It lives, Friday night lives. You die, but Friday night lives. Hosted by Dead Pit Radio. Stuntman, Marq, and ramboraphMatt.
I am scared to death tonight because tonight we're going to be talking about true crime. It's going to be like that guy. What was his name? He used to be on like, Detective Lieutenant Joe Kenda or whatever. He'd always have like those homicide cases he talked about. Like a homicide detective for 40 years. Kind of, we're going to be talking about some of those tonight. But we're also going to be just bullshitting around for a while, taking questions. That's going to be the start of this, is kind of just like ask us anything type of shit as usual. Going to be going through a couple of things too. Go ahead, Ram.
I don't say Shamo's and Ken. He was in one of those like fictional movies about John Wayne Gacy. He played like a victim. Like he had to have like a victim in a couple scenes. So
we will draw upon you for knowledge when the time comes, for sure. So other than that, though, there's a couple of news stories. There's a couple of things that got released too. I think you and I got our Rumpelstiltskin 4K, that's fucking crazy to say that, by the way. We got Rumpelstiltskin 4Ks.
Yep, exactly.
Like, what kind of world are we living in where you can have that? It's got the fucking soundtrack. I was like, bulls. Well, I'm gonna be to the soundtrack of Rumpelstiltskin. Somebody asked me, "What are you listening to?"
What's funny for me, I don't even have a way to play it. I don't have a CD player anymore, and I don't have one on my computer, so I can't play it anyway.
You could put it in your Blu-ray player. It should play it.
Well, I never think of playing my fucking Rumpelstiltskin scene. Yeah, I guess I could.
Here's what I don't understand, Rambo Marq, and I'll just tell you the truth. When I got this, I was really confused because it comes like this. It came like this, in the box, and then outside of it, they sent this, and I'm like, will this fucking fit in here? And like, I don't know how the hell Rambo got his in there, but like, there's no room unless you just fucking, I don't even know.
I mean, I have
brute force it in there. I'm not gonna try because I'm afraid I'm gonna like rip it in half. But like, why not just fucking include it inside? Why'd they have it like on the outside? Like it comes like this, but this is like on top of it. Looks like that.
That's very weird.
But no, I have not seen it yet. I've just been too busy. But nice that I got here safely. So don't know if there's any problems or.
By the way, as a side note to this, like I like this movie better than Leprechaun.
Same.
I really do, and I don't know why. I think it's actually the acting in it's horrible for one thing, but in a great way. But the guy that plays Rumpelstiltskin, I like him better than like that Leprechaun character. I think it's a more fun character. I think it was like kind of more of what Leprechaun was trying to do, but like didn't do as well. Yeah, fuck it's me when he goes off the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's a bit more genuinely funny and has a bit of an action vibe, has a little bit like a Terminator vibe, because it's just them going after this baby while Terminator is going after a woman who's ready to get pregnant. So it's a little bit of a chase movie type of thing, a little bit of action scene. So
shit. Well, this should be interesting.
I'm not gonna rip up this big case. I mean, I guess this, because I don't really like this.
He just got it. Jesus.
What is that part? Oh, that's the slip.
That's a slip cover, yeah.
I actually like this cover better anyway. This kind of looks ugly.
And that way your book will actually fit properly too, if you don't have the slip cover.
I mean, idea what I was going for is the Grimm fairy tale, but this looks ugly anyway, so I don't want the shit anyway. So
yeah,
there you go.
I mean, that's dedication, really, because he just got that.
So
yeah,
and it does make you fit better. So yeah, you're right. Actually fits a lot smoother.
Yep.
I think it actually looks better than with this. I think this is an ugly slipcover, but I actually like that better.
You got to have 15 different slip covers on everything. Like you got a hard cover, you got a slip cover on the inside. It's like, need all that shit. Like everybody needs to calm down.
Plus, it's got a cover and it's got this box and stuff, so it's all good. And I actually think this cover looked better than this. So thanks, you actually saved me something. So and I got money for it.
Yeah. Big thanks as always. Eerie Guts always starts off these shows with like you having to rip some shit up or like destroy something with a hammer or pliers and that.
Well, that was special because that was 100. So
yeah.
So that was special. So thank you.
For people just tuning in though, a little bit later on we're going to be doing the true crime part, but for now we're going to be doing just kind of like a Ask Us Anything and going through some of this shit. But speaking of slip covers though, we have an interview coming up Sunday with David Greger. We do actually ask him about slip covers and the trend of boutique labels and slip covers and things like what he thinks about all that stuff. Cool. And what he thinks about Vinegar Syndrome too. So, and basically all the boutique labels, it's actually like a pretty funny interview. Everything that anybody asks us to do is covered in there. So you'll just have to watch to see what that means. But like people had very specific requests for what, because we've given him a lot of shit, let's be honest, over the years. And there's a lot of stuff that we talked about over the years, including like the Four Flies on Gray Velvet thing, the Cruel Jaws thing, the opera thing. We talk about all that. We bring all that up. My fucking dick demon. Just watch the interview and you will see. Oh, Cardi. Yeah, you got to watch the interview, but I think you'll be incredibly happy when you see it. And his response to that is one of the best things ever.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any scoops? You don't have to say what they are, but any scoops?
Yeah, there's 2 scoops at least, and I'm not kidding. So at least 2 scoops.
That's why you definitely gotta watch it. 10 scoops.
And more scoops coming at the end of February because we were talking to Felsher, and he is going to be giving out more scoops for real by the end of February. So there'll be a lot more stuff we can talk about. Carson Grover has a super chat. He says, "Do you gentlemen have a Disney live action remake that offends you?" All of them are horseshit. It's funny you asked that.
Thank you, Carson. The reason he says that is because I showed these two right before the stream about the new Snow White. It's pretty funny chat song someone made.
Yeah.
A live action remake of Disney that offends me.
I mean, they all offend me, like really. Just the idea behind a lot of them. That Little Mermaid shit was awful.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
The what was the other one too? With had fucking
the Lion King one where it's
Lion
a live
King
action remake where everything's CG. So how much live action that is when it's all fucking CG anyway. So And I know I got requested that Mufasa, so I gotta see that sometime. That's gonna be fun to see a story where we know the fucking ending too. Who gives a shit? But
Right.
I think all of them. I can't think of one of them where I was like, yeah, this is good. This is killer.
Yeah, they're all bad. I mean, I avoid it. Like, I don't even give a fuck. I just don't care.
yeah, I mean, Disney live action, I can't think of one. A kids film that's a live action remake? Well, a remake, Mighty Joe Young. That wasn't Disney, I don't think, but that was a fun one with Bill Paxton back in the 90s, Rick Baker effects. But Disney, yeah, the Lion King remake was awful. Beauty and the Beast remake was awful. I didn't see Jungle.
God, I forgot about the Beauty and the Beast one.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
Was The Little Mermaid that bad? So you saw Little Mermaid? You said.
No,
saw?
I didn't see it. It was just through.
I didn't know if the kids wanted it.
They did, yeah. So that, I mean, through the process of like seeing it on a completely legal streaming service that I have, like, and then watching it, like.
Oh, you didn't watch it with them?
I mean, I sat there and kind of like disassociated and thought about my past and like thought about movies and
had an out of body experience.
Yeah. Thought about regrets I had over the past 30 years, but yeah. I mean, sometimes you just got to do that when you're like watching movies with your kids. You just got to just fucking zone out.
Is it the idea of it? Is it because of the way it looks? Is it because of what they're
I think it's all of it? Yeah, and nowadays it's much more about like it's not. Although to me it always does look awful. Like even those movies that were really popular. What was the ones with like Angelina Jolie? Like I never liked the look of those fucking movies. Maleficent. Yeah. Like I just never liked the way they looked. Like I always thought there was something about them that just completely turned me off, but I couldn't tell you what it was exactly. And just the idea of doing movies like that, like I just don't give a shit about them. Like there's nothing about that that's appealing to me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like everything that I don't like about cinema all rolled into one with each one of those movies. I hate them.
And now it's really bad because like now it's all of that, but they're shoving like fucking social messages and stuff in all the movies too. So it's like not only do you get all of the way it looks, but then you have to hear their opinions about all this shit that are kind of just subtly underlying in the film that nobody wants. So it's just a horrible experience altogether.
Oh, thank you, Sean Stanlin. Mighty Joe Young remake was Disney. Okay, well then that's what I liked. I completely forgot, but thank you, Sean. But they'll remake Frozen, and she'll be black. She'll be Black Ice or something.
Black Ice. That sounds like a killer wrestler from like WCW. Be a killer female wrestler. Hold on. Is there a certain age you wait to start showing your kids? No, not really. Like I usually try to gauge it by like how they are. Like you can tell pretty much like with my kids, like which ones want to watch horror films and which ones absolutely do not pretty early on. And then, you know, as time goes by, if they get into it, like you kind of start off slow, but I don't have a particular age. I mean, I was watching crazy shit when I was like 6 or 7. So,
but at least the type of horror film, like, I mean, you could probably show them, I guess, maybe Evil Dead 2.
Oh, yeah.
Not like Ebola syndrome. Like there's like a dividing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I show many Cat 3 films ever, like, because there's so much nudity and stuff in them too. But like, I was sitting there thinking the other day when we were watching, I was like, you know what? Like when I was 7 years old, 7 or 8, my dad was watching Bad Taste with me, the Peter Jackson, and I'm like,
yeah.
So, I mean, what can I say to them? That movie's got gore all the way through it.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's the same here. So I get it. I'd be doing the same if I had kids.
If you never saw the original Disney Sleeping Beauty, it's the best Disney animated feature. Yes, I have seen that. And yes, I have seen Shredder. Just watched it for the first time last week, and it has really cool 80s slasher throwback feel to it. You guys seen Shredder, the ski?
The snow, that is it
Snowboard?
snowboarding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have.
It's been a long time. I always remembered that cover of like the guy with the like the mask on or whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I first watched it just for some reason I thought it had something to do with Ninja Turtles.
Shredder. That's killer.
Now I know it's a different type of shredding.
I bet you were horribly, horribly let down when you watched that movie then.
A little bit. But I don't remember the film. I get that confused with the one Vinegar Syndrome released.
Oh, Ice.
I get those two confused.
Oh, there's another one too, Blood Tracks. They're all basically the same looking type of film if you think about it. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
No, Card, I haven't got to August Underground yet. That's becoming soon.
So I don't know. I just now think like if they see like an Eli Roth, but they become a big fan of Eli Roth.
Well, there's no chance of that happening. Nobody's a big fan of Eli Roth. But I mean, they did watch Thanksgiving and they did like Thanksgiving, so
cool.
There's that.
Cool.
I wouldn't make him sit through Borderlands though. And fucking expose him to that. I'd have him watch like Green Inferno before I'd have him watch Borderlands.
And I saw in the news that apparently Tattooed Avenger that's going to be released around August.
Yeah.
And then apparently someone's going to do a remake of The Faculty.
Crazy enough, but both those things are true. Yeah.
Yeah. I've
also saw today too that and I was like, I was looking at it and I was like, I don't think I give a shit. But they just announced that God damn, I'm blanking on the guy's name for Scream, the new Scream movie.
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard's going to be in it, yeah.
And Scott Foley.
And I'm just like,
people are like, who the fuck is Scott Foley? He was the killer in Scream 3.
Oh, the director.
Yeah,
yeah.
Her brother, Sydney's brother. Yeah.
Everyone's favorite fucking killer.
Yeah.
Yes, Midnight's Edge, Faculty is a remake of Bystanders, but they don't give a fuck. Just remake every 90s movie.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Super chat from Rapid.
Thank you.
Kirby 3. After John Carter commercially bombed that movie, man, what in the hell were they thinking with that? I'm not surprised Disney nowadays are beyond desperation. Well, you think that's bad. The Marvels lost like $300 million, close to that.
Yep.
At least like 200 million, probably.
Yeah.
The thing with John Carter, I mean, thank you, Rapper Kirby. That was a story from before Star Wars, before all that. And the thing is, every other movie ripped that off or took inspiration or took the ideas. And it was called John Carter of Mars. So just calling it John Carter seems like a biopic or some fucking guy, some senator or something.
Yeah.
It's like, what's that one movie with the basket, Antoine Fisher or whatever? Like it sounds like something like that. Yeah.
So by the time John Carter comes out, it feels like every other movie you've seen because it is a source material that people stole from. So it was too late. And then it was stupid to not have the Mars part of the title. And also the lead guy, Taylor Kish, he was not a star. They put him in a Battleship, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Which was it you or CT who liked the film?
I like Battleship. It's a long story as to why, but I do like that movie.
Yeah. I just wanted to remember. Nothing wrong with
that. Favorite and least favorite Sidney Lumet movies. My favorite is going to be Network.
Of course.
And I don't know if I have a least favorite. So the guy did Serpico, he did Dog Day Afternoon, and he did Network. I know those.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a lot I haven't seen though.
That one's the one that always stood out the most. Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah.
Trying to think of the other ones.
My favorites would be 12 Angry Men,
Yeah, that one.
and I actually like Find Me Guilty. That's actually a good Vin Diesel movie. Does he acts?
That's hard to believe.
My least favorite is he did one called Family Business.
Oh, is that the one with Dustin Hoffman and Sean Connery? Yeah,
Matthew Broderick.
Movie. Yeah, it's an awful movie. You're right.
Yeah, with that cast, should have been a lot better with that cast.
Yeah. Okay. I guess this is directed towards you, Mark. Will you be seeing the Terminator live in Chicago on February 22nd?
Hadn't planned on it. Maybe.
It's a very specific question. He's gonna meet you there and kill your ass or something.
What's the 22nd? Let me see. It's a Saturday, maybe.
Gotta do now, you pussy. Got to do
Yeah.
it now.
There's also an Audition, Takashi Miike's Audition remake coming up. I mean,
not needed, but
I was gonna say why. I don't know, but it's just a movie where I struggle to see how's anybody going to make that better or more interesting. Or I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do?
They'll slap some crappy actors in it, or even if they are name actors, nobody's going to care. They're going to try to sell it as like an original thing. Audiences might be duped into going to see it, and you know how it goes. I mean, it's the Hollywood cycle, never ends.
So let's see. Bobby's got a super chat. Tomorrow we will be there for the start of trying the 9 weeks of The Rock's Cheat Day Challenge.
Only if it means The Rock retires forever.
If he quits making movies, that'd be fine.
If he keeps, I don't know, pissing in bottles and making things late and fucking make these shitty films like that Christmas one that was awful, then no, I ain't going to do shit. I'm going to go to a fast food place. I'm going to tell people I've never been there before.
He's done that a bunch of times too.
And then that's where I'm going to say, I've never been here before. I'll just make it like a weekly thing. I've never been here before. I've never been to McDonald's
I don't understand why he does that, man. That is one of those things where it's like, why would you does he just forget where he's been, or is he just purposely trying to like make it like I'm just a regular fucking guy? Look here. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's that like Steve Buscemi meme where he's like trying to be the kid is, hey, kid.
Oh, yeah.
What do you have against him pissing in bottles? You don't like him making jankum or what?
If he was honest about it,
It's Mark's gimmick, bulls. You don't fucking do it.
If you're that goddamn rich, you could find a bathroom and leave your piss like normal people. Goddamn, you don't need to put in bottles. Fuck's sake.
Let's see. Sean's got a super chat. He says, I've already asked Matt this, but have any of you guys thoughts on Hitchcock movies?
Yeah. Frenzy is one I always thought was pretty underrated. Of course, Psycho is the classic, but everybody talks about that one. I grew up on The Birds. That's a favorite. I mean, there's so many. I like a lot of his stuff. I mean, I got a couple of those collection sets. So.
I like a lot of the Jimmy Stewart stuff that he did, like the Rear Window, Vertigo. I love those two movies. I think those are both great, and of course, Psycho and The Birds and like all that stuff. But to me, like those two are probably my favorite movies that he did outside of Psycho. I just think that was kind of him at the height of what he was doing, especially with cinematography wise.
Yeah, I thought Saboteur is a pretty good one in my opinion.
That's a good one too. Al Pacino. So it just says Al Pacino. All right. The context for that, I can tell you. I mean,
Al Cappuccino, Duncaccino. You want Duncaccino?
Duncaccino, yeah. Oh God, yeah, this is one we got to talk about. I'm glad somebody brought this up. So there's a whole bunch of crap about this movie too. So apparently, the guy, what's his name, Anthony
Mackie.
Mackie, was doing a press conference over in England, I think, or somewhere overseas, and he was like asked what Captain America meant to him or something like that, and he said something to the effect of, "Well, like it's not really about America," or he doesn't like. He said something like, it was just really derogatory towards America, basically. And then he kind of backtracked and was trying to because he could tell, I guess, that he screwed up, and he was trying to backtrack by saying a bunch of stuff. But it's the Disney curse of these fucking movies that are just like trying to be like super liberal, and now you got to hate America and shit, and say that it's like, there's just certain things about it that you're against. And I felt really like, just watching him do that press conference, I felt bad for him more than anything. Because I guarantee somebody told him to say that shit before he went out there, or some version of something like that.
Then he should have had the brains to go, maybe I shouldn't say this because it's not going to pan out well at all. So now he's going to get the blame. Or he really felt that way and he put his foot in his fucking mouth. That was the dumbest shit I heard. I got to go on a rant.
Yeah.
Your name Captain America. That's what the A doesn't stand for asshole. Maybe that's what you are, an asshole. Maybe how about this? You hate America so much, don't call it that anymore. Call it Captain Asshole, Captain Falcon, Captain African American, Captain whatever. It's just, would that be better if it's African American? Maybe that's his issue. Should we call that Captain Falcon, Captain Dickhead, Dickwad, whatever the fuck.
It's wild to me though that we live in a time now where you've got the dude playing Captain America saying that he doesn't really like America. Like, that's where we're at. Like, it's kind of like, I mean, that's the one defining part about that character, is that it was supposed to stand, or he was supposed to stand for, like,
the people,
all these things that make America great. But now it's like the guy playing it doesn't really even seem to believe in that. Or somebody told him that. That's the thing too, where they were in England, he may have been pandering to try to, like, be like, well, it's not all about America. It's, I'm trying to fucking include you guys too to get more people to come. I don't know.
But that's the thing. If you go over there, they love Captain America. They love that. They love a guy who loves his country. Just you like. If someone's from France and they love their country of France, that makes sense to me. Or you're Jamaica, or wherever the case. You don't be proud of your country or your heritage or what it stands for. And that's what Captain America is about, is what he stands for. Trying to help the people and standing for the ideals of freedom. It's like these fucking assholes and like basketball, whatever, where this is going off tangent. Like there's a bit at Hong Kong where they want to, like, people in Hong Kong love America.
Yeah.
They love them.
That's true.
They have American flags and they want to be democracy. So they want to be away from China. So that's the people we should be rooting for. People that want to have democracy, people that want freedom, the people who are oppressed. But then you have these jagoffs like LeBum James, that fuckwad, who's like, well, people should talk about China because they don't understand what's going on. No, you don't understand your bank account. That's what you're worried about, is your bank account. Okay? And it's like, we got to protect the money at all costs, even though it goes against your ideals, because so many people are about the bottom line of money. And those people ain't worth a pot to piss into me, if that's the case. Fuck them. I know it's me being angry about it, but it's bullshit. And then people don't want to call them out on it because it'd be too mean, be too rude. What's the fucking truth? Fight for the people who actually like you and who stand for what you believe. Not people who don't give a shit about you, but it gives a few more bucks to your bank account. You're rich enough already, LeBum James and all these other guys. You're rich enough. Like, help people, but you don't want to. You have to make shitty Space Jam sequels instead. Why don't you go make Space Jam 3 and you go into space for real and you stay there forever? Go without a helmet, walk outside and see what happens,
Jesus.
LeBron James. You fuck.
You don't like LeBron James.
No, he's
LeBron
always been an
James.
asshole. He's always been a
Jesus.
dickwad, loser, asshole, fuckhead. Fuck LeBron James.
You didn't like Space Jam 2 though?
Fuck no. Space Jam 1, I could watch. I know it's an advertisement, but it was a fun one with a good soundtrack, damn it.
Space Jam 2.
Yeah, whereas like all the stunt is too awful, but let's put Clockwork Orange in the fucking movie. The stunt is too bad.
Yeah, I remember that when they took him out because of the. That's where. Listen, I honestly think
McDowell's character.
there was a period of time there where I really do think, and this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, I think was probably like one of the darkest times for shit like that in movies, where everything was just fucking like an agenda, and everything was getting taken out and censored and stuff like that, and everybody was woke, and I think that's really kind of died or in the active process of dying now.
I hope so.
Yeah, I feel like that people are just kind of over all that shit at this point. Like they realize like the backlash is kind of catching up to it. And I was hoping it would catch up to it a long time before now, but it's like, dude, nobody asked for any of that. Like nobody thought that taking like Pepe Le Pew out of a fucking movie was going to do anything. Like nobody was asking for these movies to be censored. It just was like some stupid woke shit that Hollywood was doing at that time. And it's still kind of doing.
I don't know if this is the case, but someone mentioned like the 4K or like Crocodile Dundee had scenes taken out. Someone mentioned
probably because there's the trans. Remember the trans scene in the fucking bar? I guarantee that's the fucking scene they're talking about.
Probably, yeah.
Yep. I would stake my life on it. That's one of the scenes that got taken out. Yep. But anyway, I wanted to get like an exact quote of what he said. Anthony Mackie said when he was doing the press conference. Here's what he says. Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. He says it's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity, someone who is trustworthy and dependable. So yeah, not America. Fuck that shit.
What do you feel about that, Marq? That kind of stuff. Like Anthony Mackie.
I don't understand it. I mean, like, it just seems like he was probably made that character for an agenda purpose because of his skin color. Like, I don't even really see why they made him the character when you have Sebastian Stan right there. Like, I always thought that was going to be the idea, that they were going to make him the character.
He's too white.
Well, I think he's like of a different country origin, but it doesn't matter. Like the perception,
too white.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like it's kind of backfired. I don't even think that movie's going to do well. They failed again. I mean, I don't think it's going to change anything. They seem to like not making money. They keep making these movies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's about making money for them anymore. I think it's about pushing that agenda. I don't think they give a shit. They got money to burn, literally at this point. So,
and yet you put that up to the budget. That's because it had so many reshoots, so many additional photography that it's gonna. I don't know how much it'll bomb, but it'll bomb.
It'll bomb and it'll suck too. I mean, it'll be horrible. There's no doubt about that. Like, in my mind, because if that many reshoots and that much money, and it's getting pushed out in February, which is the time period that studios push it out to just die, like it's just not going to be good. Are you guys going to pick up the second sight scanners and Brood 4Ks? I'm torn on scanners because it's classic, but it's really boring movie outside the ending. That's actually 100% true. And I love Cronenberg, but God almighty, that movie's boring.
It's bad because of the guy, the lead. Like, if it was almost anybody else, like, it wouldn't be the way that it is, but it just is what it is.
Okay, is it a classic movie or is it a classic scene?
It's a classic concept with a classic scene, I think, but I don't think it's a classic movie because at least almost 3/4 of that movie is fucking bullshit. just boring
Yeah.
bullshit with that fucking guy and like him.
And I as bad as
Yeah.
he is, like I like it, but like if it was more Ironside
Yeah.
and less of that guy, and like maybe if they'd even follow Michael Ironside's character, he's a lot more interesting than the other guy. Not even just off his performance, but just character wise. So I mean,
Yeah.
I still like the movie, but yeah, I don't know. I might have to stick with the Blu-ray. I don't know. But the Brood, yeah, I love that. I'll probably get the 4K for sure.
I will say there's a movie that came out. I'm pretty sure it came out before this called The Fury that was directed by Brian De Palma. It's a lot better movie. It's the same subject matter, really, but it's a lot better in all ways, especially the end.
Yeah.
I'll stick with Standard Cop.
I forgot about Scanner Cop. Yeah. That's your type of shit though, Rambo. Like that's that's the action like version of that. Yeah.
Exactly. And a better actor than that lead.
Let's see. The Rock. A lot of people are talking about The Rock. So here's a good question. Where did it go wrong?
When he started acting.
Great answer.
It's an easy answer.
I mean, yeah, I don't like I said, I don't like any of his movies, so I couldn't tell you like that where it went right, really.
I didn't mind some of his early films. I can watch The Rundown, Race to Witch Mountain, some of those. I would say it's around the time he did the Jumanji sequels, and they made so much money. So then they plugged him in like every other movie. So Skyscraper, the Jungle Cruise, what was that one? Where the big monsters, Rampage, like every other movie he was in, San Andreas, where there's just generic, forgettable. You see it once, you forget it by tomorrow. Over budgeted CGI abominations like the Jumanji sequels. And he just played it so safe. And he's also, the more he talks, the more fake people found out he was. And the more full of shit people found out he was. Like anytime he posts something, anytime he now comes back for WWE, want to say WWE, you just see how much more fake and phony he is. And again, like the all the drama about being late for films, the piss and bottle stuff, which is funny, but it's so stupid for a guy that has that much money. Lying about where you eat. Line about, oh, he eats this many calories per day, which is like almost impossible. It just, even when he was on Joe Rogan, he told stories that other people go, well, that's bullshit, or that's not true, or is he just wrong, or he just making it up, or he just, I'm not saying he's becoming like Hulk Hogan, but if he doesn't watch himself,
I was getting ready to say he's got the Hulk Hogan syndrome thing going. Yeah.
He's almost going down that path. He doesn't watch himself. He already has go away heat from the public.
Something happens to people, I think, when they get too famous. I think that something like just short circuits in their fucking brain, and like they either become just extremely disconnected to like what's going on outside of like the few people that they're around, or they're just, I don't know, like they're just fucking aliens almost. Like they just like not real people. They just feel like they can say whatever the fuck they want, and like, you know, people are going to accept it at face value. I don't know why that happens, but you'll notice anybody that gets really super famous loses their shit at some point in time. So Stanley Kubrick tried to warn us, and we didn't listen. So a bunch of people are talking that I don't know anything about Hong Kong and making fun of the fact that I said that earlier. You didn't know Uncle Bill has a vacation home in Hong Kong. Uncle Bill says that's true, like he travels to Hong Kong a lot. Listen, motherfuckers, I ain't been to the sun, but I can read facts about it. God damn. Like I can read. Like, god damn, do I have to personally go everywhere that I would know anything about? Anyway.
What's funny, they didn't come after me, who said more about it.
No, come after me. How about you go get fucking doused in shit, and then you can do a cartwheel in it, slip on your own shit and fall right head first into it. Well, we got a super chat here from Carter that says, "Why?" This is a great question. Why is the nun from Ken Russell's The Devils in Space Jam 2? This is true, by the way.
Was it?
Yes. I've heard this multiple times. I swear to God, I think it's some sort of weird Eyes Wide Shut kind of shit going on.
Could be.
I don't know.
Well, it's funny because like the big part of the plot is the Looney Tunes going to worlds like Mad Max and Matrix, which are R-rated, which is about people getting shot to hell and blown up. But Looney Tunes, hey, we're here. Everything's fine. There's Vernon Wells, stooping someone over there in the wasteland.
And Caleb Farrar won his basketball game tonight. Good job.
Nice. Congrats.
LeBron was on his team.
He was coaching.
Mm. I'm way behind on this chat. Did the Falcon become Captain America in the comics already?
I'm sure he did, but everything happens in the comics. Superman fought Muhammad Ali in the comics. Doesn't mean I want to see that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't read any of the newer stuff, so maybe
he probably win now, but he wouldn't fight now because he's dead. But
people
fight.
Now I'm 100% going to see this movie. I have heard good things about it already too. In terms of like some advanced screenings and stuff like that. I'm really kind of optimistic about this one. Cool. And there's not a lot of shit I get optimistic about anymore.
Yeah, King himself kind of put it over, but I'm like, dude, it's your material, so like I can't really listen to you.
Well, he didn't put over The Shining though. I mean,
that's true. But
like,
then again, that wasn't really his book.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean?
true.
Well, what Kubrick did anyway.
Yeah, Cena is kind of, especially now for some reason, he's very awkward and kind of corporate.
Mm.
Damn, well, there's a lot of shit I'm trying to wade through here. Hey, fuck, we gotta do this.
Fuck,
you can have sex with Jimmy Moore and Young Sue at the same time, but you have to hold Jelly Roll's hand as he takes a shit while you do it.
I'm not answering that. Like,
I don't know.
I bet he thinks of these throughout the entire week because that's great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I ain't doing that. So
that is fucked up. Yes, David Gregory, the owner of Seven Films, is going to be on Deadpit on Sunday night at 10 p.m. And if you got your ass in here earlier, you'd realize I already announced that, but you didn't. Oh God, Dreamcatcher. We could do a whole show on Dreamcatcher and just break down that whole fucking movie.
yeah.
Hey, it's a crime and shame. Fuck you, cocksucker. About that. Fuck you,
what?
asshole.
What
I'm just yelling at a guy. It's a crime and shame. I said, fuck him, cocksucker.
Wait a minute. I must have missed this guy. Oh, wait.
He should be missed.
I'm going to. That's killer. I can't delete him because he's on your shit. So somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to say
I
that.
just really fucking. So the Asian guy from Hellraiser's back. He wants us to know you shit on China, choppy choppy your pee pee. So it's good to have you back, Asian guy from Hellraiser. And you do a whole show on Dreamcast, you know you run out of ideas. Listen, I think there's a lot to unpack in Dreamcatcher. A lot of bad, but still a little bit of good. I think there's a lot to talk about in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we could do a 2-hour show on it, but I think I probably could actually.
I could try.
Never forget Kai.
That's right.
Let's see here. Yeah. Final Destination 6, Bulls. Who's excited?
I mean,
No.
I don't think anybody really is.
Sad. I like those movies, but like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like the diminishing returns thing. The more of them they make, it's just you kind of get more and more tired each time.
Right, yeah.
It looks like
Yeah, are you doing a Vinegar Syndrome thing tomorrow since they're dropping titles?
I have no idea.
I couldn't tell. I don't know what they're dropping tomorrow. No idea.
They have 3 regular titles that they're dropping, and they have like I don't know how many partner label titles, but it's February, so all those are going to suck. Like the main things that they've already dropped, they've already going to do that in November and around December and stuff like that. So now it's like they're just offloading shit that ain't going to be worth a piss. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
Virtuosity, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, you're excited about it.
Y'all think the Zodiac killer was more than one guy? Marq's gonna break it down.
I'd say no. Should this be the point where we transition? Since somebody just brought that up.
Sure. Real quick though, before we do that, I want to talk about this real quick because this is one I thought Rambo would love too. If you didn't see the Arrow announcements for Day Rambo, like the Long Kiss Goodnight was one of
I
the
saw that. I can't wait.
the titles that they dropped. So
It's about fucking time.
Nice.
I'm definitely gonna get that one. They dropped the Man with No Name trilogy in 4K in like a box. Is it going to be in a box set or is it like the individual titles and then a box set? It's something. But all those movies, and then that one, and that was the one that I really gave a shit about. Like I was like, you know,
nice.
So yeah, but yeah, now we can transfer over to serial killers. We talked about this before. We completely understand if like y'all want to stay or leave or whatever. If serial killing is not your thing, that's fine. But like true crime, and specifically like that as the background, we're going to get head balls deep into.
Yeah. Hold on. We're gonna start this in just a second.
So what was the first case you remember hearing about that got you intrigued in one way or another?
That's a great question.
Manson.
I mean, he's not a serial killer, but that's the first case like true crime that got me interested.
Yep. I'd say probably, even ironically, Zodiac maybe. Just because of the anonymity of it and all the people that have been working on it and still never really been caught. I mean, there's several theories about who it is. There's a million message boards and groups of like people trying to figure it out. So I would say that one for me.
So I think that, like, I don't know if you want to do how you want to do this, Mark, but I mean, there's like an iceberg basically where you've got like your most well-known serial killers, and probably the one that still to this day gets the most kind of like recognition is the Zodiac, because it's still unsolved. And it's one of the very few cases like that that had that high profile kind of situation that's still unsolved. And if you've seen the movie Zodiac, there's like 1,000 Zodiac movies actually, but the David Fincher one is the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um,
So he's also one of the few serial killers that actually had like a costume and a mask. There's a couple of
very
others.
bizarre, yeah.
There's a couple of others that did that too, but he's also infamously known for taunting the police and sending letters to the newspapers with those ciphers, and sending pieces of clothing from one of the murders even to further prove that it's him. And he had a short span of like his killing spree was, I guess, 6 years. So it was 68 to 74.
Yeah.
Well, technically like 72, because like he was sending letters and stuff around 73. And I think the last letter they got was in 74, which sort of ties into the one of the main suspects that people always thought it was, which was Arthur Lee Allen. And he went to prison in 74. And I remember the police saying like either he's dead or he's in jail. And there's a whole ton of other, like, there's like a mountain of evidence that like, I think it's him, me personally. I mean, you've seen the Zodiac thing that they did on Netflix recently, right, UB?
Yes. Yeah.
Would you say that it's more than likely him?
Yes. I think that's really the only thing that makes sense. And the sad thing about it is, like, we'll never really fucking know who it is, but like based on like everything that there is to know, that probably is him. Yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to get like DNA from some of the stamps, and they said it is possible. They just really need a concrete full profile, DNA profile from it. And if they get that, then they can link it to like the Ancestry website, which that's how they caught the Golden State Killer.
That's how they caught him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think in the documentary, they had like this knife or something that was given to one of the guys who knew Arthur Lee Allen. And it has like what looks like dried blood. So they were saying like, hey, let's test it. Those results have not been released yet. I don't know if they've gotten them or how that's all worked out, but I know one of the surviving victims ID'd Arthur Lee Allen as the shooter. Now this was before he wore the costume. I think this was like on the second murder or something like that.
See, the thing with Allen too is he's got a whole bunch of strikes going against him. Number one, he's a former school teacher. That's not a good sign. Number two, he was a sex offender. That's also not a good sign. And he was like one of the only people that was ever like kind of eyewitness identified as possibly being like who it was. In terms of like a credible eyewitness, there's been over, I don't know how many people have said like it's this person or that person or something like that, but like, yeah. But what was it about that too, though, Mark, where it said they had evidence at one point in time, but like I don't remember what kind of evidence it was exactly, but it turned out to be negative. I don't know if it was it blood evidence or something like that, or
they said that his handwriting wasn't close enough
to it.
It's
Okay.
that it's possible, but it wasn't an exact match. And there's been other suspects because they did get a print off of so he kills the cab driver
Right.
which is like one of his last known victims anyway. And his print, it didn't match. So they're like, well, maybe it's not him. But I mean, it's a cab. So I'm like, that could be anybody's fucking print. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
Yep.
to me, that's not concrete enough. I'd say the DNA thing is the only way you actually like get for sure full proof. Like, it's always the DNA, you know?
It is all. It ultimately always comes down to like forensic evidence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that case is like the most fascinating still, just because it's the mythology behind it. Like, here's a guy shows up in broad daylight in a fucking full on like tater sack suit with a
Yeah.
helmet, and or not a helmet,
With a symbol,
like a hood with a symbol on it.
Yeah.
Ties people up and kills them, and then just like disappears, and nobody can figure out who it is. And he basically he's the only one too, I think, that ever like did the whole thing with the cryptic kind of riddles, where he was sending these things that had to be deciphered to people, and like something about that makes it really interesting too. Like that you could figure out who he was if you just broke the code. To some of these.
I think all but 2 ciphers have been cracked. I know the 340 cipher was never cracked. The first one that he did was cracked by like a high school teacher and his wife. They figured it out, but they couldn't get the last 2 lines of code deciphered. But it said something like he likes to kill. He'd rather kill people than like hunt animals because man is the most dangerous game or something.
Yeah.
It's fascinating just because there's so many suspects. And oh yeah, I just thought about something. Do you remember the fact that they actually had him and then they kind of let him go, but they didn't realize it? So when the cab driver gets shot, the description goes out that hey, it's a black guy that did it, and he's walking down the street away from the crime scene. The cops pull over the Zodiac killer. Well, not pull him over, but like stop him, and they question him. He said, yeah, it's a guy with a gun, and he ran that way. Well, like, dude, thanks, buddy. And they drive away.
How many fucking times did they almost have Bundy? Or did have Bundy, and then he escaped? It's like,
yeah.
I mean,
there's several guys, they had him, and then they let him go. Or they didn't do a good enough job with questioning or whatever, and then the guy kept on killing. It happened countless times.
Let's transition to Bundy. Let's do the biggest ones first. Let's just transition over to Bundy real quick.
Before we do, since we're on Zodiac,
sure. Could
we talk about the copycat Zodiac?
Oh yeah, there was a couple, wasn't there? Like a couple of copycats. There was the guy. Shit, I'm trying to remember what the fuck his name was.
Was there one in New York?
Yeah, the New York Zodiac is like probably the most well-known one.
And then there was one in Japan too. There was like several in different countries. Yeah, we can talk about the copycat.
Yeah, so I think the New York one is probably the most interesting because this dude.
Wait, I'm fucking slacking here, Mark. Hold on. I just realized that I needed to be sharing this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So for those people.
We'll think that Japan took something from us. Glad we were to inspire them some serial killers.
So this is the classic picture.
Yeah.
Of the sketch of the Zodiac killer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The original Zodiac.
That's me if I'm shaved.
Fuck, it's fucking Rambo.
It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
It was me. And then this is
Thank you.
That is the New York Zodiac.
Copycat, yeah.
Herberto Cieda is his name.
That's not Alan. that's the copycat killer.
Yeah.
Herberto, yeah, let's see if I can make this even bigger. It's like, nope, fuck you. Well, I tell you what I can do. kiss my ass. I can do this.
So on his first murder that they found, well, no, the third murder, he left a note and it said, "This is the Zodiac. The 12 sign will die when the belts in heaven are seen." And
I mean, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. So briefly, they thought like, "Holy shit, we got the San Francisco Zodiac is here." So this is 1990, by the way. So he still would have been of age. He still would have been alive at this point to have committed the murder because the victim was shot. And anybody could use a damn gun. And
yeah,
I think it was through handwriting samples and communication with San Francisco. They traded information about all the Zodiac stuff that they had. And as they were going over the evidence, they're like, okay, well, at least it's not him, but we still have a maniac on our hands. This guy is clearly copycatting. Although his was more based on astrology. He would use some stuff that was from the original Zodiac. I know he copied the sign, like the crosshair symbol, which I'm sure everybody knows.
Of course,
that. Yeah. And then he would put marks like Scorpio, Gemini, Taurus, all that stuff. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Now, I was going to ask, did they ever find a motive as to why he's doing this? Was it just to get famous, or was there something else going on in his head?
No, he just wanted to do something. He said he felt ignored and invisible, and this was something that he could do to gain notoriety.
Pussy.
Seems like a good guy.
What a pussy. Oh, I've been adored. Boo-hoo. Get a fucking dog then, you fucking pussy.
Get a dog, you prick bastard.
You dickless pussy. What a bitch.
He used homemade guns. So they were zip guns. So made out of wood and whatever else he could find and manipulate into being the shape of a gun. So quite a few people survived his attacks. And they also noticed differences in patterns. Like the original San Francisco Zodiac was doing couples like at Lover's Lane type of thing. Like he was killing them in cars. This guy was attacking people. He would hide in the shadows and sort of just jump out and shoot them and then run away. I know a few people he did ask them what their birthday was just at random. So he would know if like, oh, this person has the sign and all right, you're going to die basically. I know one chick, this was like after, the first few killings, he decided to take a break for a while. He came back like after 2 years of being quiet and not sending any more letters. He started to switch up the MO and he started to do like stabbings and stuff as well as shooting. So he stabbed this one chick like 100 times. It was overkill. And he wanted to amass killings, like get like 4 bodies under his belt and then start talking to the police or the newspaper.
And you'll see that. You'll see that pattern in a lot of these guys. Like BTK is another one where they stop for long periods of time, but like somehow or another they're drawn back into it. Like it's just I think from the way that they've described it, the actual serial killers themselves is like they always are looking for this high, this feeling that they get, and they think that each time they do it, it's going to give them this certain feeling, and it never does. But they think the next time it will. It's almost like addiction or something like that, to just drugs. Like you're going to get that perfect feeling at some point, and you never do. So you just keep searching for it. And in this case, it's you search through murder versus like heroin. I wish they would have done heroin. Maybe that would have just hurt themselves. So, but
And you said 100 times.
Yeah, this one chick that he got, and this was during his what he called his second phase. So in the second phase, he wanted to sort of up the ante and be more extravagant.
You think after the 40th time, you'd be just tired? Just fucking tired.
No, I mean he said the same thing.
Yeah.
He said what UB said. Like he said after the first few times, like he couldn't stop. He needed to get that feeling.
No, I mean just like physically tired. Just
Oh, I see what you
Oh,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah,
40, just like fuck. 41, 42.
Really, Rambo? He's gonna be fucking like he's got
I
a
don't think he
cardio
counted.
thing.
Maybe. I mean, that's maybe they'll put it's like I'm at 85. And a few more. You know? Like the other is like at 90. I need 10 more. It's just like after the 40th stab is just you just be tired, you know, and so bored or something. Just
Yeah.
maybe I need to rethink my life choices.
Yeah. So they close in on him after a while.
Rip slip covers instead. It's
At least with pattern anyway. They figure out the pattern that he kills in 21-day cycles when there's certain star alignments in the sky or whatever. And the funniest thing about this, and it's all fucked up, but this is actually funny. The only reason that he got caught was because he got in a fight with his sister and was trying to fight her boyfriend. He accidentally shoots his sister in the butt, and she calls the cops on him.
That's how he gets caught.
Yeah, that's how he got caught. She calls the
makes
cops.
sense.
They have a shootout and a standoff because he had like 1 million guns in his apartment. And when they arrest him, they don't know that he's the New York Zodiac. They have no idea. And he said, "What about all my bombs?" And they were like, "What bombs?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" And he said he made a bunch of bombs because that's what Zodiac did. The original Zodiac threatened to use bombs to blow up a school bus full of kids. He was going to do the same thing, but he was going to use it in a movie theater because it would have been even more people that he would have killed.
Yeah. Well, not now. He'd only kill about 3 or 4 now, but back then, probably.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's nobody in the theater.
So he just randomly asked, well, "What about my bombs?" Like he was that curious about it while being arrested.
I picture this guy like Andrew Dice Clay for some reason. I picture him like from New York having that look. "What about my bombs, you fucks?" Oh, get the fucking bombs out. Yeah, but for reference though, too, like Mark, I want to mention like before too, like there's been a bunch of movies, like mainstream movies that have used the Zodiac as kind of like a trope. The biggest one probably being Dirty Harry, which is kind of like you can definitely tell that that's who Andrew Robinson's character is based off of. And you know, that is probably one of my favorite all-time movies, and he does an amazing job in that. But there's also that part where he hijacks a bus of kids and things like that. He doesn't have, I don't think he has explosives or anything, but he just hijacks the bus. But yeah, his character was definitely based around that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was caught, sentenced to 232 years. The defining thing that gave it away was he drew like a symbol on his confession about the fight with his sister. And they said
kind of a dumbass move.
Yeah, without that symbol, they wouldn't have tied him to the other crimes, and he probably would have been let go. As a matter of fact, he was caught before, and they let him go.
This guy's a fucking idiot. So he's signing the shit, and he's like, just signs the symbol like out of habit, just like
and he said he didn't mean to do that, but it just sort of came out, and he thought that because he got let go before, he got caught with a zip gun, and they found it to be inoperable, so they were like, "Oh well, let's just let him go." Yeah, and he said that was an omen that he couldn't be caught.
So excuse my idiocy, what particular is a zip gun? Because I hear the term, but I've like never used one. Or so what is technically a zip gun?
It's a homemade gun that you would put it together. So
like just use bullets, or would you use something else?
You could. Here's a movie reference. You remember the movie U.S. Marshals? If you've seen that, you know the thing that the guy uses on the plane.
Oh, okay.
That would be considered like a zip gun, like where you just put it together.
A picture of one.
Yeah, there's several different kinds.
Didn't John Malkovich use one like In the Line of Fire?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like that little gun that he put together and everything. So for those people that are curious, this is kind of like what zip guns look like.
Okay.
Improvised firearms.
And it's not really easy to trace because of
Somebody wrote
cardboard.
Desert Eagle on the side of that fucking thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
So is that wood or
That looks
cardboard?
like that's
That
definitely
looks like
wood.
wood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wood? Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. LA Jewel says Uncle Bill's gonna have the fans at his door with his search history. They're gonna be like, this motherfucker's going crazy. Oh, all right.
Oh, don't worry, Jackson. This is wood. I know. She's just
Oh,
sharing
yeah,
some
it's,
wood.
it's not a gun, it's wood, yeah.
Not that kind of wood.
Right. But yeah,
It looks like something like a little kid would play with. I mean, you never know in a million years
Yeah.
that was an actual functioning thing. It looks like
mhm,
a
Right.
weird.
Exactly.
it does. But it can do some damage if it's close range, depending on what your projectile is, stuff like that.
Uh-oh. Mark
Gotcha.
sending me another one. Oh shit.
I figured since you mentioned, and we spent enough time on the New York Zodiac. I think.
So one of the biggest just I mean, you want to talk about sociopath, psychopath, however you want to
Mhm.
say it. Dennis Rader, aka the BTK killer. Bind, torture, kill.
Mhm.
Looks like Michael
This
Ironside.
the thing that has always haunted me about this fucking guy is his kind of modus operandi was to sneak into somebody's house and just wait on them to come home. So he
Mhm.
would be in your fucking closet or something when you came
Yes.
home, and then he would just jump out, point a gun at you or something, tie you up, tie the whole family up,
Mhm.
and then just systematically kill everybody. And that's just the idea that like, and he got a lot of this, this entrance and stuff like that by his job. So he would case certain people's houses, and then he would break in and he would just wait.
Mhm.
And there's something about that that's just like horrifying.
Fuck you,
Yeah.
Nubbins.
What's Nubbin say?
Fuck you,
Wow,
man.
these guys look like real.
Better watch it. I'm gonna make a name for myself in a bit.
What the fuck?
You're about 5 to 10 months. I'll make you famous.
Look, you Nubbins. I was like, what's he talking about? That makes sense.
So he tied them up and then he didn't kill them immediately. Why was
No.
No.
Well, I don't know if we can really get into that.
that?
But
I can figure it
Yeah.
out.
I mean, he was into bondage, and he liked to torture, I'll say.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it limited on how much I disclose. But that was kind of his whole thing. He liked bondage and torture. And then the kill aspect, I think, was just possibly to keep him from getting caught. This is another guy that had a mask, which I don't think many people know. It's a very creepy looking mask. I don't know if he ever actually wore it during any of the crimes, but he did wear it when he would take Polaroids of himself in bondage situations and wearing women's lingerie, which was also the
Jesus
victims.
Christ, are you
It was-
shitting me?
Yeah, it was the victim's lingerie. He would take it, put on this really fucking creepy mask, and take
Y'all
all
ain't ready.
sorts of weird positions.
Y'all are not ready for this mask. You ready? I got a picture of it.
Oh, you found it? Okay.
Yeah, hold on. This is stuff that nightmares are made out of here.
Yeah.
That's the mask.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yes, Dylan, that they are terrifying. It's just the way he would position himself and the clothes he had on, like, or lack
Mhm.
thereof. It's not a nice sight.
Looks like Rachel Zegler.
But yeah, so I don't know where you would put this guy in the pantheon of like in terms of like how he was to me like one of the worst, just because if you ever watched his court confession and stuff like that, like he absolutely did not care. Like he spoke in detail about everything that he did, and like broke everything that he did down, and had no kind of emotion or feeling. He's a true psychopath, really. And you know, a lot of the things that he did, not to get too like graphic here, but they involved children. Especially the first series of murders, which was the Otero family. I mean, I don't know.
How many people
confirmed?
Yeah.
10 victims confirmed.
Yeah.
And the first time he ever killed, he killed 4 people. He killed the entire family.
It was the whole family, right?
Yeah. And he was one who also sent letters too. That was another thing about Raider. And
you mentioned that. Hold on, I just thought of something.
Yeah.
So I do remember from the crime doc, they mentioned that the very first letter he sent was in 1974. So he was probably following the Zodiac stuff, because the last letters from Zodiac were in 1974, and he sent his first one in, I think, January of 1974. So he was sort of picking up where Zodiac left off. He also gave himself a name, which was the BTK name. He had a couple of other ones, but the BTK one was the one that stuck.
Yeah.
And you're right about the family, though. I mean, that was really messed up. I can't say what he did, but it got him off, I'll just say. And not through doing anything physical to them. Just the act of seeing it and being there and being responsible for it. He really reveled in that. They interviewed this one kid who, well, he's not a kid now, he's an adult, but at the time he was a kid, and he was locked in the bathroom. And so he could see through like the keyhole, and he witnessed his mother being tortured and killed for hours and hours. And the kid grew up, this guy looked so disheveled, and I mean, he had been on all sorts of drugs. He's recovered now, which is good, but he's got like 27 different personalities. He's just all fucked up mentally, just from having witnessed what this guy did to his mother. And the kid, I mean, he was 5 years old. So I mean, I can't even imagine, you know, the terror that he was in, just seeing all this shit.
So the letters that he wrote, though, Mark, I'm sitting here reading this. The second one, he says, this is one of the letters that he sent to a local Wichita television station. It said, "How many do I have to kill before I get a name in the paper or some national attention?" He enclosed another thing up with a poem that said, "Oh, death to Nancy," which I don't know what the hell that was all about, but like, yeah. So he was very similar of the fact that like a lot of times these people kill, but it's not enough to kill. They want recognition for it. And some of them get to the point where they want to get caught just so they'll get recognition for it. He was not one of those people. He was just incredibly stupid when it came to electronics and computers, which is what eventually gets him caught.
Exactly. That's the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Like, I know, man. Like
asked the cops,
that was the greatest.
Is this going to get me caught? Like, well, of course they're not going to tell you the truth, dumbass.
So after these murders, like, we got to talk about this, because this is the funniest part about this whole thing. If there is any, like, you know, silver lining or funny part to any of this shit, it's the way that Raider gets caught, because he had quit for years and years and years.
He eluded capture for 30 years.
Yeah. And then he comes back because, of course, like, he needs the attention, just like we were talking about, and he needs to be recognized for what he did. And so at some point he's communicating with the police in these letters, right? And how did they do it? Like, how did they get him to send it, Mark? I can't remember, but like,
it was a floppy disk.
It was a floppy disk, but what was the purpose of it? Like, what did it have on it that he wanted to send? I can't remember that part.
It was something that would, like, I can't remember if it was something that would link him to it, or maybe it was a piece of evidence. I can't remember exactly what was on the damn floppy disk. I know they traced it back to his church because he was the president of like a Lutheran church. Right. And this guy, here's a guy who worked for ADT. He worked for ADT alarm systems, so he was in people's houses, installing alarm systems. So he knew all about that kind of stuff. So getting into a house was easy for him.
Yeah. So whatever it was, though, it was some sort of evidence that they asked to like link to make sure it was the same guy. And he was like, well, I've got this. I can send it to you. What he didn't realize is that they could trace that disk to a certain computer. Mm-hmm. And that's what they did. So Crystal says a floppy disk where they traced it back to his church. Once they traced it back to his church, they were pretty much able to like figure out who it was. And that was it.
Yep.
But he asked the police, was the funny part, is like, you can't trace this, right? And they were like, no, just send it on. And he did.
Fucking dumbass.
Yeah,
and when he was caught, he's like, why'd you guys lie to me? I thought we're having this discourse like this.
Yeah. Yeah, he got pissed about that.
Yeah.
But BTK goes down as like one of the worst in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and maintained a family life, had a daughter. You can watch the video of his daughter getting married online where he's in the ceremony and looks like a normal, older age guy.
I don't think he was as into community stuff as like, let's say, John Wayne Gacy, but he was definitely like a part of church and a part of the community, and like he wasn't hiding out or anything like an Ed Gein. Like that didn't happen. Like Raider was,
should stick a flamethrower up his ass and pull the trigger.
I mean, you'd really think that if you saw a lot of the shit that he did, Rambo.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah,
all these guys tipped every flamethrower up their ass, pull the trigger.
Yeah, they didn't take it easy on him. I mean, he got 10 consecutive life sentences, so he'll die in there.
Well, it should be 10 consecutive guys fuck him in the ass.
That should be a sentence. You're gonna have to have 10 consecutive guys
every day.
Every day. Yeah. I sent you to 10 consecutive guys.
Jeez.
That would be fucking killer.
I need a judge to say that with a serious face. I said,
listen, based on the findings, we got to send you to 10 consecutive guys. So I'm sorry.
For the rest of your life, 10 consecutive
every day,
guys, every day till the day you die.
Fuck me.
That'd be a fit punishment.
That's not the first time I've heard that, which is funny.
Oh,
you've heard that many times.
Not the consecutive thing, but just the fact that he needs to get grades.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
So who we got next, Mark?
I'm sending it to you right now. And this is another one that people know pretty well.
I can't wait. I'm actually excited. It's like playing like Jeopardy with serial killers.
Hold on. It's all right. It should be in there any moment now.
There's a lot of good ones people are putting in the chat. And by good ones, I mean like ones that have interesting backstories. Ramirez.
Yeah, we don't think any of this is good. We're all good people.
Oh, this guy. Now this guy. Yeah, this guy. It's terrifying to even think about how many people this guy could have possibly killed.
Mm-hmm.
The Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway. So the most, to me, when I see this guy's name, the thing that immediately pops up is like the possibility of how many people that he killed, which is, what was it? Like it could be in the hundreds. Like
he claims it's about 70 to 90. Yeah. There's some that he can't account for, but at least 70. The number found and confirmed was 49.
Yeah. So Ridgway, if I remember correctly, though, Mark, and you'll see this pop up quite a bit in these cases too. Wasn't he like a truck driver? Wasn't that his thing, his job?
I don't think so. But
I don't remember what he
there
did.
were some that were like long haul truck drivers.
Yeah, he worked at Kentworth Truck Factory.
Yeah, he worked at a factory.
He worked at a factory. Yeah, I thought he was. I guess by that I thought he was a truck driver. Okay,
Yeah.
but a lot of these guys that were serial killers would work in some sort of job where they would like move constantly. It'd be easier for them to get away with the stuff that way too. So if they had like a truck driver job or some sort of job where they would leave, things like that.
I know that was Keith Jesperson. That's the happy face killer. He was a long haul truck driver, literally went all over the place, state to state. And so it gave him nothing but access to potential victims.
Yep.
But I mean, with Ridgway, he said, this is a direct quote, that he wanted to be the best serial killer.
God.
And he considered his body count to be pretty damn good. That's what he said. So he reveled in the fact that he had a pretty high body count and thought that he, couldn't be caught either. That's a lot of these guys. They get so fucking cocky. They think that they're just above the law, that they're never going to get caught. But he did, like all the rest of them.
I think he is more actually famous more for that nickname, like, and the investigation too, than he is for actually like a lot of these others are just for kind of who they are. Right. But that investigation and that manhunt and everything that led up to all that, like, is probably more famous than he is, because that's one of the things about giving serial killers nicknames. Like, I'm not sure like how great of an idea that was.
Do you remember his motivation for starting to kill?
No.
So
I'm afraid to know.
It's kind of funny. So he killed mostly like prostitutes and stuff like that, homeless women, whatever. But yeah, of course, a lot of them would frequently prostitute themselves as well. But he got 2 STDs when he was in the Navy from prostitutes.
Yeah.
And
right.
Yeah. And that was like in the early 80s, I think, or late 70s. But that sparked his.
He got pissed.
I mean, he was still using it. I mean, he was a grapist, which it doesn't really add up. I mean, if you hate them, I could see maybe you like hurting them to get
with a mustache like that. He'd have to pay for it. Guy looks like a goober with an Adolf haircut. It's like a goober.
It's funny you say, like, you talk about his looks. He actually was married, I think, twice. And the second time he got married was during his killing spree. And that's why he took a break. He stopped because he said he found love. And I'm just thinking,
must have
like,
paid her off too.
Well, one of his things that I remember too, Mark, was that like he was like super hypersexual. Like he wanted to have sex like 3 or 4 times a day, every day. And if he didn't, then he would get like super pissed off and like, go and find somebody. And that was kind of partially the motivation for what he did later on too.
Yeah. I mean, he, I think he said his first victim, from what he remembers, was 1981, and he was caught in 2001.
Yeah.
So he went for a pretty long time where he didn't get caught. And there were several times where they had him and let him go. I remember one instance was he picked up this prostitute and she had a boyfriend, which is really weird. And the boyfriend follows her and goes to Ridgway's house with her. And then he doesn't hear back from her, gets the girlfriend's father. They both go over there. They take the cop over there and they're like, we haven't heard from her. We haven't seen her. We don't know what's going on. And the cop actually knew Ridgway. And he's like, hey, Gary, you know, like they're buddies. So it's like, you know, they have that, you know, thing in between them where like they're friends. So it's like, he's like, you know, it's just Gary. He just gave her a ride. You know, he dropped her off on this corner. Never found her again. And then, of course, later the cop was like, it's the biggest regret of my life. I should have looked into this a little bit more. And it's like, you think?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that he was notorious for too, though, that kind of kept him from getting well, not from ever getting caught, but from not getting caught quicker, was he was actually smart in some ways where he would move a lot of the bodies to different states. Like he moved a lot of the ones to, I think, Oregon, and he would contaminate the crime scene too. Like he would steal shit from other people's garbages and stuff like that and put it around the bodies, and like, you know, to kind of like confuse the police if they ever found it, like as to like who it was and all this different stuff too.
Yeah, I think because so he was his main dumping ground was the Green River, but that side of the tracks, that area became really hot with police activity because they're finding these bodies like every other day or every other week. They're finding more and more victims.
Yeah.
So all he did was like go on the other side.
Yep.
He's like, all right, I'm going to go over here and then I'm going to start putting them there.
At least like Bundy had the common sense to fucking go to a different state. Like, you know,
right. Yeah.
Where it took him a little bit longer to figure out what was going on.
Yeah. They searched Ridgway's house in like 87. The DNA was in its infancy, like so was all the technology and stuff. So they couldn't link him to anything, but they thought they had enough to where like maybe we should check this guy out again. They check him in 87, everything checked out, and he kept on doing it until he got caught in 2001.
That's so crazy to me too.
Yep. So yeah, his whole deal was grave strangulation and necrophilia as well.
Yeah, that's another part too.
Terrific.
Yeah. So it says it says Ridgway was placed in solitary confinement at Washington State Penitentiary in January 2004. On May 2015, he was transferred to USP Florence High Security Federal Prison east of Canyon City, Colorado. Yeah.
So he's still alive?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Hold on. I hope not. I'll say that. Yeah, he's 75 years old and still alive. Unfortunately.
Crazy.
Oh, damn.
Motherfucker will probably never die.
Yeah.
Tell you, 10 consecutive guys every day will fix that problem, maybe.
Consecutive sentence, guys.
He got 49 consecutive life sentences.
Well, maybe he needs 49 consecutive guys. That is fix his attitude. Fix his attitude problem there, buddy.
Do you remember too, Mark? I don't know where this is at nowadays, but back when I was really like into researching serial killers and things like that, like there was this theory that all serial killers shared like some common traits, like bedwetting and animal
arson.
torture and arson and things like that. And like I don't know where that's out nowadays with that, if they've proven or disproven any of that, but like I remember that was the big thing.
I think.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Like you could predict a lot of that kind of stuff through like what happened in childhood through those kind of features too. And it just so happens that he met, I think, at least 2 or 3 of those. Definitely the bedwetting one and possibly the animal torture one too. But yeah, he was one of the worst for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of like just the sheer number of people that he killed.
So was this next guy, and he's actually got more bodies than Ridgway.
Oh God, the freaking Grim Sleeper. Samuel Little.
93 confirmed deaths.
That is insane. Yeah.
Mhm.
I got to be honest, I don't know as much about him. I don't know why. What is his kind of MO, Mark?
Strangulation. So he said at the age of 5, he became excited by women's necks. And
See, there's usually some weird shit like that, man. In a lot of these cases, like it'll be a certain body part or something that'll get connected with something that happened in their childhood, and then they'll fixate on it.
Mhm.
So it's feet for some of these guys, and it's like, fucking necks and something, and
Yeah.
then they'll just kind of obsessively think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he said he wanted to kill, I think as young as 7 or 8 years old. He knew he wanted to kill even back then. So it was sort of a deep rooted problem with this dude. He was in and out of facilities and had a rap sheet like a mile long starting at the age of 13.
Mm-hmm.
Shows some files just needed to pull out instead. Idea birth these fucking
Yeah.
assholes.
This is another guy who targeted prostitutes and
Okay, you say 5 or 7. Is that because of a mental disorder? Or did something really happen between 0 and 5? Or was it some mental disorder that some people just have that makes you that early?
I mean, I don't know if anybody at 5 years old is like being aroused by any gender. You know what I mean? Like being in a state of arousal at 5 years old is pretty off. Like there's something, I don't know what caused that, but that's just weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that he liked women's necks at that age, and then he wanted to kill when he was like 7 or 8, and then committing all the crimes, and then committing his first murder at 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was like a slow but steady progression up the ladder of like eventually he was just going to get there. And he would get it like put in jail and then let out nonstop.
He's got the classic kind of like telltale signs of what would become a serial killer. So at age of 16, he's convicted of breaking and entering.
Mm-hmm.
He's then convicted of driving under the influence, fraud, shoplifting, solicitation, armed robbery, aggravated assault, and rape.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about by the time he's like a juvenile, he's into that kind of stuff. So most of the time you'll see there's a pattern of like law breaking and deviant behavior at a young age, like teenager. And it'll be something too that's like almost violent, like, an armed robbery where like the person has a gun on them pointing it at you, to like some sort of like direct kind of stuff like that you'll see that a lot of serial killers were involved in at some point in time. Something that involves aggression and violence, to put it simply.
Mm-hmm. He did study some criminal justice stuff, so he was aware of fingerprints and stuff like that. So he kind of had an idea of what he was doing or what he wanted to do and how to use it to help him grape and kill. He becomes like a state to state transient. So he's just moving around all over the place. And at one point they ask him there's a lot of victims that could be linked to him, but they're not sure. So they're like, who did you kill? How, where? He knew all the details. And they gave him like paper and crayons and stuff. And like he drew out every victim. He knew where they died, how they died, what he did to them. They got led to several different bodies, which is how they got to the 93 number. He thinks there might have been some more, but I mean, 93 that's a lot. Like you're dedicating the majority of your life to killing. That's insane.
I mean, and we're talking about over the span of from who knows really, but like what they, I guess, can confirm, like the 60s,
I think
70s.
He said 1970. I think was the first one. So from 1970 to 2005.
Right. Like, so, I mean, nobody was in a hurry, apparently, on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, what made it difficult was that he was just all over the place. So it's not like every state, or even hell, like in certain states, they don't connect, they don't share information, especially not in the 70s. There's no computers, there's no internet. So you're just, whatever's in like your precinct is what's in your precinct when it comes to criminal cases.
Yeah.
So the pattern of it, like, oh, there's another strangled prostitute that's been raped. Well, okay, but I mean, how is Joe Schmo in the next county going to know that? So there's no way to connect it until, of course, 30
how many
years
was confirmed?
93.
Well, is that confirmed, or that's how many they think?
I think that's confirmed because he would give them the location. So it was some FBI agents and like a sheriff, and he drew out all the stuff, and then he led them to all the bodies, so that the victims could get closure. And he did it in exchange for like small stuff.
Of course.
Not like time off or anything, but just like, I mean, Snickers bars and shit like that. Like it wasn't anything.
Yeah, he knew he wasn't getting
significant.
out, so fuck.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's like, I'll just take a Milky Way. Fuck it.
93. So
Joe Berlinger actually did a 5-part series about this guy too, confronting a serial killer. Which came out in 2021. Berlinger is probably most famous for the West Memphis 3 documentaries that he did, but we've had him on the show, and I've seen he does shit for Netflix constantly, still this day. Like he does the majority of their
stuff.
Yeah, documentaries on serial killers and things like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, last victim for him he was 65 years old. So, I mean, he would have kept going if they didn't catch him in 2005.
93 consecutive guys. Sentenced.
That'd be like, that's rough. That's like that chick that tried to break the 1,000 record or whatever.
Oh, man.
Definitely break something in his ass.
Yeah.
After 1 week. He deserves it. 93 a week. There you go.
Yeah, and I mean, he even looks pissed in his photo.
Yeah, he doesn't look happy.
He looks like Jankum. He took a lot of Jankum.
Yeah. The next guy looks
I was going to say,
depressed.
we did get a few super chats. I didn't know if you wanted to wait.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We should get to those.
Okay, so opinionated Jake says he can't wait until you review Flight Risk. Review it now. Don't delay.
Haven't been requested. I haven't seen it, although people say Mark Wahlberg looks like me. So I don't know how I feel about that.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Shaved head and fucking psycho, I guess.
We'll have to get that and watch it for sure now.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Jim Jones? Oh, Lord.
So he wouldn't be labeled a serial killer, right?
No.
Just a cult,
Not really. He's a cult
mass
leader.
killer, if anything. Yeah.
cult figure killer.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts about Jim Jones. I mean,
it's true crime, and it was a crime. So
yeah.
He definitely fits in the category of.
He was another Charlie Manson, just under a different kind of like vise, you know, in the religious world. He was.
So,
like
what did he believe in?
Manson.
Like, what was his whole belief?
He essentially believed that like that modern society was falling apart, and like the only way to survive would be if like that whole commune and everybody that was in it were to be segregated from modern society and like lived on their own out in this place where they grew their own food and kind of like took care of themselves and could practice their religion. Essentially what he really wanted, though, Rambo, was the ability to sexually abuse a bunch of his followers without getting caught. That's what he wanted. So he wanted to have multiple wives, which he did, or multiple, partners.
I don't say was it just women or men and women.
I think it was actually. I don't want to get into all. I don't even know if I could say all of it on here, but like, it was a combination of like children and women, from what I can remember. And another thing about Jim Jones is that he progressively gets further and further into like drug use. And that's really what throws him over the edge. He was already paranoid to begin with because they were looking into his church for all that stuff. And so by the time he gets to Jonestown, like he knows he's got to get out of there. He's got to get out of the States because they're going to like eventually bust him. He gets down there. He's on all these stimulants and all this other shit all the time. And he's whacked out of his mind and paranoid constantly anyway. And so, eventually, what was it? He was a congressman, I think, ends up coming over there to investigate it for the families.
Ryan, I think.
Yeah.
Leo Ryan.
And while he's there, a couple of the people that are there want to leave with him. He tries to leave with him, but by that point, Jones has already said, kill everybody, including the people that are trying to leave. So they send a hit squad. They kill the congressman and everybody else, I think, that's with him, with maybe one. I don't remember if anybody got away, but maybe 1-2 people.
Didn't he drink the Kool-Aid himself? Or no?
No, I think he either shot himself or someone shot him. I can't remember which it was. He may have drank it on top of that too, but I think that was what killed him.
Because that's the thing, like if he wants to escape, but then he decides to, or was he affected by the stimulants and he didn't know what he was doing?
I don't think he had any intention. You mean him escaping?
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to escape.
Oh.
No, that wasn't his goal at that point. Like he was so far into the delusional kind of thinking that he really believed that, that was the best way to go about it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the Heaven's Gate thing is always strange. Like, wasn't there a guy who thought he was immortal and he had a wife?
That's another great one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they thought they were aliens or immortal or something until she died, and then he.
What did they call the Doe? I think they all had like Doe and Ray and shit like that as their names. And
wasn't it like we all gotta be asexual, but then they found out he was with guys, but then he's like, okay, you all gotta, because by that point they all did something to their units.
Castrate.
Yeah.
They somehow or another.
Which, how do you get to that point where it's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that to me myself. I believe in your immortal story so much that sure I'll get rid of my diener.
That's a great question. Like, how do you get to the point, by the way, where you're like that? You know what? I'm going to follow you that far. Like, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Was it? Here's the one thing I don't know, and I don't know, like, if anybody on here will know or not. But was it real, like, physical castration, or was it like chemical castration? Like,
I think it was real.
Okay, well, fuck that. Jesus.
They interviewed one of the guys that admitted that he actually went through with the whole thing, and I don't know if he was allowed, which I don't know how the fuck he didn't like die from shock or from the pain of it all. Like, I don't think he was allowed like any sort of like numbing agent or anything. He just,
I feel like that's a lot of drugs.
Yeah, probably something else, but yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, they wanted to go to a ship or something at the end of a comet.
Yeah, well, they believed that with I think it was Halley's Comet or something passing by, that with that they were going to get picked up by aliens and like taken on that and like
to the tail of the comet. Yeah,
transported to some other fucking dimension or something, but they had to all kill themselves and wear Nikes or something. I don't know. I don't know how that became like
Nike sponsored it. They said, "Listen, if you wear these, we'll give it to
Nike sponsored it.
We'll give money for the funeral. Just please sponsor. Wear Nikes."
Yeah, when they got the sponsorship deal with Nike, they knew they were in good shape. Oh God.
Haley's comment is sponsored by Nike.
Heaven's Gate was the Hell Bop comment. All right, who gives a fuck?
Hell bottle here.
All right.
Wait, Crystal, you actually have that? She says she has an Ed
What'd you say?
Kemper T-shirt.
Ed Kemper's a great one to talk about too.
Oh, we'll get to him.
But Bobby's got a super chat here real quick. Would you think if eating unhealthy foods like wings could still play a part of the building muscles along with lifting weights if you want to be like the Incredible Hulk or Braun Strowman?
Not in a good way. If you want to do it the right way, like you could try to eat that stuff if you want, but it ain't gonna help.
I don't think wings would be that bad. Fucking just chicken, really.
Yeah,
You probably want to eat like clean, like just chicken breasts and things like that.
Yeah, just maybe not without the skin and the fat.
Yeah, maybe. Shit, I don't know. Maybe just baking, boiling. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah. But good luck on that, man. Better than me.
All right, let's do this one as the last one, Mark, because I'm getting super fucking depressed. You ready?
Okay.
For today, anyway. God
okay.
damn.
Well, we gotta mention like Dahmer. Like we gotta bring Dahmer up somehow.
Oh God.
Because a lot of people in chat talked about Dahmer.
The Gainesville Ripper. I had forgotten all about this case too. It was a fairly popular case there for a while. Danny Rolling.
Yeah.
Big Danny.
I swear to God, I thought it was like Bill Engvall or something.
It does look like Bill Engvall.
Here's your sign.
Oh, fuck.
Like you tape the facial hair, it doesn't look like here's your sign.
I can't. Is he a serial killer though? I mean,
yeah,
I guess he would be, but
yeah, he killed eight
right.
people.
You're right. Yeah, but he just killed a bunch of people in a row, didn't he? They're like, he killed
not exactly. So his first documented kills were in '89 in Louisiana. And then eventually, because he was a drifter, and he went to Gainesville, gets there, and then he starts to kill after he sort of makes like a campsite in a forest preserve or something that's like near a college. So that was his deal. He killed all university students, female university students, and I think one guy at least, but only because he was there.
Interesting thing. Another thing too. Rollins was arrested several times as a teenager for robberies in Georgia and Alabama. Was caught spying on a woman getting dressed. That's another thing that gets kind of in this a lot too. Is like voyeurism kind of shit.
Yep. He's a guy who he went on record as saying he wanted to beat Bundy's kill count. So you'll see that a lot where these guys sort of they want to be the biggest or the best at killing, which is odd. He also said in his trial that he was possessed by a demon named Gemini, which they tried to use that as part of his whole case, and they weren't buying. The prosecutors weren't buying that shit. They didn't believe him at all.
They didn't believe he was possessed by a demon?
No.
Oh shit.
But yeah,
okay, let's say for a second that like that defense goes through, right? So you're possessed by a demon. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like, you still killed a bunch of people. Like, what are they gonna do? So you can go free. It's fine. We got the demon out. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, he tried to sensationalize. That's why they called him the Gainesville Ripper, was because he posed the bodies like Jack the Ripper did.
Yeah.
And, decapitations and putting heads on things and posing women in sexual positions and stuff like that. I mean, he mutilated the bodies after grape. So, I mean, it's like, come on, like, are you really possessed, or you're trying to sensationalize? That's what it is. I mean, you're posing them after the fact. That's not how like they were left. You wanted to create shock value.
Well, I mean, clearly, like one of his biggest motives was to become as famous as Bundy, right?
Yeah, he later admitted that.
he's got to stay. He's got to make everything as grandiose as possible with
Mhm.
all this stuff.
Mm.
Unfortunately, he's kind of been forgotten. I mean, fortunately, he's kind of been forgotten. But in terms of like, if his plan was to become famous, that did not work out.
Yeah, he almost got caught when he broke in, and it was an apartment, and the girl was having a friend over. It was a male friend, and this dude was huge. He was like, like Brock Lesnar big. He was a sports guy, just really jacked. And Danny said like he'd never fought anybody like that before. He almost lost the fight, but the only thing that gave him the upper hand was that he stabbed the guy while he was like knocked out sleep. So because the guy was stabbed beforehand and then they got into a fist fight, I think he said he punched him so hard that like the room was spinning and he was
Damn.
dizzy. He thought he was gonna like drop the knife and all that, but somehow he regained his composure and managed to get the guy. And then of course he went after the girl afterward.
Mhm.
And yes, somebody said he's the inspiration for Scream.
Mhm.
Yeah, loose influence. Yeah.
How does that work? Because I don't like. How is he the inspiration for Scream?
So Kevin Williamson said that I don't know if he was at a friend's house or wherever the hell he was. He was by himself, and he saw the news story. It came on about Danny Rolling and all the murders and all that stuff, and just the posing thing. I guess the opening scene with like Drew and posing the body and it's sort of sensationalized and that kind of thing. Not like the whole Ghostface gimmick and all that, not that stuff, but just it freaked him out enough to where like he's like, maybe there's a story I could craft something out of this. And I'm into horror, so I'm going to write something that's, loosely inspired by a real life case. That's where it comes from.
He was actually executed, so that's nice. He was charged with 5 counts of murder, brought to trial, pleaded guilty to all charges, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then was executed in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
That's not usual. In 2006, I didn't realize it had been that recent, honestly.
Why the fuck do they have these guys sitting on death row for like 20 years or 30
I have
years?
no idea, because appeals, I guess, like they have to run through all the different appeals, and then like that takes forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Florida and Texas are really the only places you'll ever see these people get executed in. So,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they threw him at a gator.
they threw him at a gator. That'd be cute. They shot him out of a cannon at a gator. They really do need to do some shit like that just to keep people from trying this shit. Oh God. Anything else about old Danny J.K. Rowling?
No, I mean he had a short run.
Thank God.
Yeah, he didn't get. I don't know if they tied him to those murders in Louisiana, but it was supposedly 8 people. But he mostly got tried and convicted for like the murders in Gainesville.
Fuck, what now?
No, just the way you said it, he had a short run like he was a WWF wrestler. Yeah, short run.
I thought about that when I said it.
How about the Marty Jannetty murder?
I heard about, yeah.
That's an unsolved case. Yeah.
It is.
What do you think about that, though, honestly? Like, I mean, so Marty Jannetty, for those people that don't know, was part of the Rockers. He was a wrestler back in the day. He's also insane now. And he has like Facebook and goes on there and posts like some of the craziest shit. And one of the posts that he made was that he murdered a guy.
Yep.
Like, and I think it was that where the guy was trying to come on to him or something like that. Or
he was buying weed. He was really, really young. He said the guy propositioned him. He turned it down. I think the next time the guy put his hand on his leg, and then they got into it. And then, eventually, like, he claims it's like a self-defense type thing. Like he killed the guy, but he was more so trying to get away and get him off of him. He's,
Why?
he's like, I may or may not have buried the body over there.
That's what he said. I'm like, why? Why?
But then he also later say, if he does it again, I'll say something to him. It's like he says it afterward as if the guy was still alive. So it's like he's got CTE and he just didn't know what he was saying.
He also said some stuff about his daughter that was really weird too, but that's a whole other conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Inframig wants us to, I guess, do Soviet serial killer Nikolai Volkov. I'm sorry, Nikolai Zumagalev. Zumagalev.
Volkov.
Zumaga.
And then before that, Freddie Lit had a super chat.
Yeah, Freddie Lit said, rest in peace to the people involved in the plane crash. Well, that's some crazy shit right there, boys.
Which one? There's like 2 in 2 days.
So about the Black Hawk helicopter one. Mm-hmm. What the fuck you think? Okay.
So Marq, there's a chopper that hit a plane, and then today there's like 6 on a medical plane that crashed.
So, Marq, you're huge into conspiracy theories. What do you think's going on? Somebody had the cure for cancer or something? What's happening?
It's UFOs. It's a smoke screen.
They're gonna bring down the whole plane.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody gives a shit about UFOs. Is a funny thing. They come out and say they're real, and people are like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Yeah, no, I mean, it could be a smoke screen for something bigger. I don't know. I want to look more into it once there's more facts. Well, supposed released facts that are posted out there for us to actually dive into. All we know is the basic headlines and stuff. But there's always something more going on. Usually, I don't know. How many collisions have we had in the last 20 years, 30 years?
Yeah.
That's not really a thing. For the most part, not saying it couldn't happen. It's always possible, but I don't know. Something doesn't seem right.
Although to me, there's a lot more dumber people around now. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more stupid.
There's definitely a lot more polarized people for sure that have their own ideology and don't see anything else but that.
Mm-hmm. I just think there's a lot of people that just are a lot dumber nowadays, like idiocracy.
I did see something that fucking cracked me up the other day where it was like some sort of thing that they're going to try to do where they're going to try to make all books like audio books and shit so people don't have to read anymore. I'm just like, goddamn, if this is where we got into where it's like, chat GPT kind of shit's going to make everything audio books and we're never going to have to read again.
Oh, God.
I can see it.
But in all seriousness, I don't know. Can't answer it.
They never caught the Prestonsburg penis slayer. That's true. They never will. Louisville bird strangler. Yeah, I mean, there's people are bringing up some other ideas here. There's a lot of ideas for people we could talk about that are in the true crime realm. Ted Kaczynski, being one of them. Jim Jones in Full Detail being another one. Also, the one that always got me too was the guy. They did a movie about it that tied the bomb to the guy and made him do the robbery.
Yeah, I remember
that.
But it wasn't a real bomb, right?
I think.
Wasn't it a fake bomb? By the time they dismantled it and they were looking at it, they were like, this wouldn't have detonated anyway.
I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. The boys in the UK that were influenced by Chucky. That's right.
That's somebody said that, and then we were talking about the Gainesville Ripper and then the Scream influence and all that stuff. There's a show that has, I think, 3 seasons, and they list out each movie that was the influence for the murder. And I can't remember the name of it. Let me look it up real quick. But it's very interesting because each movie either directly or indirectly inspired like kills. So I know there was one for Saw. I know there was a guy who was influenced by Dexter. He tried to actually he did kill somebody. Of course, he's not as good as the character, so his ass got caught like all the rest of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of them. Hold on, let me find the show.
I was trying to look up like what happened.
This shit here. The Zodiac resurfaced years later as the Unabomber. I believe that was an episode of Unsolved Mysteries and Old Theory. Yep, that was him.
Yeah, I don't think it was Kaczynski.
But I mean, some people we haven't talked about yet. Kemper, Bundy,
The co-ed killer, yeah.
Dahmer, the Hillside Stranglers, the Boston Strangler. I mean, there's a ton of Gacy, Berkowitz.
We got to do a sequel show.
Yeah. Berkowitz is a really odd one too. Just because of like what happened, the way that it happened, and then what he's like now, or what he was like. I'm not sure if he's still alive now, but when he was like, didn't he get reborn and all this stuff? And like,
all these guys seem to do that after a while.
I'm not sure what he would hope to accomplish, but he's never getting out if he is still alive.
So, because they have nobody else to talk to, so they just talk to the air. Just, no one else wants to talk to their sorry ass. Yeah, Son of Sam, yeah.
Well, shit, most of all, like people are talking about some of these movies, most all of the famous horror movies you can think of were inspired by some sort of killings. Like Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, those were all Gein. Because I think at that time, like nobody had ever really like heard of anything like Ed Gein. Like, I mean, just the idea of it was so macabre and so out there that, yeah, people were making movies about it left and right. Still are, as a matter of fact.
Okay, I found the show.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it in the private chat and then pull that up on here really briefly and then just scroll through. It's like they have it listed out for the movies and then they have the cases of what happened.
Let's see.
Now, I haven't watched the show before, but I've seen it. I'd like to check it out at some point, but I haven't watched it.
Copycat Killers is a documentary-style television series that investigates real-life crimes that appear to be copied from actual Hollywood movies. Episodes include Scream, Natural Born Killers, Fatal Attraction, Heathers. That makes sense. Rambo. Damn it, Rambo.
Wasn't me, I swear. I have
American Psycho, Taxi Driver, Hannibal, Saw, Freddy versus Jason. What asshole fucking did a Freddy versus Jason?
That's the killer's name right there.
Clint Daniel. I want to know about this.
Daniel Gonzalez. That's the Dexter killer, Marq Twitchell.
He thought it was that bad of a movie.
Shit, you could have done.
He's
a British spree killer who murdered 4 people and injured 2 others. Jesus. Inspired by horror films such as Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th.
Drudfield. There you go. Drudfield.
Mm-hmm. One of the best things he done in his life was to be inspired by Freddy Krueger. That's insane.
Are you really?
Wore a hockey mask like Jason Voorhees.
This fucking guy. I can't see where it says anything about Freddy versus Jason though, but I mean it does say Jason.
Wait. Go back to victims.
Yeah, it said he wore a hockey mask.
He was fought off and fled. wearing a hockey mask in the movie Friday the 13th when the mask. What? So I guess because the time he did it is right when Freddy vs. Jason came out, and so they mentioned Friday the 13th, so that was the newest one, so they linked it to that, I guess.
I was gonna say, if anybody ever watched that fucking movie and then like decided to start a killing spree, they're the dumbest sons of bitches ever.
Like, yeah,
like they must have really hated it.
Yeah.
So he was inspired by those two franchises to become a famous serial killer. Wore a hockey mask to kill.
He forced his victims to dream about a shitty movie.
Where does the Freddy Krueger bit come into play? He's mentioned Jason, but where does Freddy come into play in this?
Scroll down on the second paragraph.
Hold on.
Because I didn't see anything about Freddy.
I saw Freddy's name in there somewhere.
One of the best, and how similar he was to the character Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay.
So apparently in letters he wrote about how much he enjoyed the
okay.
and how similar he was to Freddy.
No love for Michael Myers, I guess.
Well, he's not around anymore, apparently.
They're good.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
He needed consecutive.
He didn't get the consecutive part.
Consecutive guys in a row.
So let's see. Let's see the rest of this. The Dexter Killer, Mark Twitchell, The Talented Mr. Ripley, not that horrible fucking Matt Damon movie. Queen of the Damned. Like, why are you doing this?
Oh, at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Matrix, Breaking Bad, The Basketball Diaries. Okay. RoboCop.
That was RoboCop 2, not RoboCop. I know that guy, Nathaniel White. Child's Play. Huh.
Murder of...
Is that Child's Play 3? Maybe they're talking about? What happened with the Child's Play 3?
Let's see. The murder scene was committed by the Greater Manchester Capper. Age 16 died. Kidnapped and held captive. Oh, God. I can't even say any of that shit.
Yeah. Well, people can read it if they want.
Yeah, there's a whole lot there. The unfortunate part is like so this is the victim?
Is that the victim?
Or is that the killer?
That's the murder, just in general.
Okay.
The article is about that. Yeah.
So it's talking about the person that was events leading up to.
So it was...
That's a whole lot to unpack right there.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. Torture. Murder. Here's the thing. I want to see where it gets into the part about the actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
Trust they won't list it.
Jesus Christ.
There's so much in there.
Video nasties. Here we go. Yep. The news media immediately made a connection between the Bulger murder trial and the Capper murder trials when the horror movie Child's Play 3 was mentioned as a part of the testimony. Yeah.
I was thinking it was Child's Play 3.
Mm-hmm.
So there was two.
Yeah.
Two events?
Powell and McNeely owned a video recorder, and the Child's Play inspired music that had been used to torture Capper was a popular track taped direct from Manchester's Piccadilly radio. God, that's just bullshit when they do stuff like that anyway, though.
Mm-hmm.
You consider like a scapegoat, like they're using these movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, obviously, we don't know. I mean, if those folks who want to read the whole thing, they could come to their own conclusion. But in events like this, I don't know if there's a usual thing of, is it a mental disorder? Is it a parent thing? Is it some other source that I'm not bringing it up that usually leads to these events? And then they blame stuff like Child's Play and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it more mental disorder? Or is it more the parents not paying attention?
Well, I mean, it's usually a combination of both. Honestly, it's a combination of being genetically predisposed to something like that, and then living in an environment where it's dog shit, and that kind of gets activated.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, Deliverance. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what happened there.
No, probably not. I see the collector there for Lake, and I didn't realize that.
Kill Bill.
Really?
Yeah.
Fisher King. What?
I know. Well, some of these don't make it. X-Men, like what the fuck?
I wish we could click on the name, but some of these don't.
Yeah.
These people don't even have wiki pages. Have to just like Google them.
Primal Fear, The Legend of the Casino.
Exorcist 3 with Dahmer. I do know about that. That was like
Yeah.
his favorite movie. He watched it all the time. He thought he might have been evil, not because of the movie though.
Robert Elmer Gleason for Texas. I've never heard this story. I want to see what this is. 2 missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ. Really popular, besides inspiration for the horror film. Huh. Huh. There's just too much shit to go through.
Yeah. Yeah,
But that's interesting, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for the show, and some of these I already know. Like I know the first one there's several people that copied Scream, and they actually wore the Ghostface costume. I know one guy actually wore the costume when he committed the murder. There was
Twilight. Fuck you. I mean, I wanted to kill somebody after I saw Twilight, but not for that reason.
Right.
I wanted to kill the director and fucking Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Dakota Fanning.
The teenage boys for Scream. Actually, there was 2 different sets of teenage boys that did it. Again, using the costume. It's like, do you guys not realize in the Scream movie the killers always get fucking killed and they find out who it is? Like, where's the inspiration there?
Okay, so the Jed Allen, he was a big, obsessed fan of Wolverine, and he killed 3 people.
Did he use the claws to kill him?
I think he stabbed him, and
Also,
then he would like show pictures of showing like he had, and
Mhm.
he kind of had bushy, some bushy hair like Wolverine. But he was like a big fan, and then killed 3, including
Yeah, Brad, this is kind of like a version of that. Yeah. I don't remember if we did a serial killer show way back in the day. I can't remember how much stuff we talked about though.
yeah.
So yeah. I didn't realize this ever happened, by the way, this show.
No.
Yeah, I stumbled upon it because I was looking for something else. And when I saw it, I was like, copycat killers. I'm thinking like it's going to talk about guys that were copycatting other serial killers. And instead it's a show about people copycatting stuff from movies or being fans or inspired by real life Hollywood movies. And I was like, oh shit, that's right up my alley. I'd really like to see something like that. Because I know there's tons of cases, and like I said, some of them in certain seasons I'm familiar with, but there's quite a few that I'm not.
So does each episode just deal with one thing, or do they try to put multiple?
It looks like it. I mean, because if you scroll down just a bit, it said I guess episode 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So each episode must just be on that thing. The Dexter killer guy. Yeah, I was so fucking stupid.
Why?
I'm afraid to ask.
It's just like the whole way he tried to go about like doing it. I mean, he got like, if you guys have ever seen the show, he used the plastic and all that stuff, but he was sloppy with a lot of other forensic stuff, and the way he got the victim was ridiculous and easily traceable. It was stupid.
But isn't the whole idea of Dexter a killer that goes after other killers? So is that what he was doing?
No, he found this guy on
No.
Plenty of Fish.
Yeah, and it's like, dude,
it's
they're
like-
going to find you. What the fuck? Like, that's the most obvious thing. All they got to do is trace back on the victim's phone or the app. Like, what was the last thing person he was in communication with? That's what I mean. Like, it was stupid.
Yeah, he didn't do very well with that. I'll say that.
No, but he was obsessed with the show, and I think he even had the same outfit as Michael C. Hall wears in Dexter and all that. He had the knives and all that stuff.
He also shot a full-length fan film prequel to Star Wars episode. It's called Star Wars Secrets of the Rebellion. So, Mark, you got to really hate him.
Yeah.
Particularly.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
Maybe he's a Disney Star Wars fan. Sorry.
That's the fuck. Oh shit.
Thank you, Hopium, for the super chat. I
Oh,
see you
yeah.
there.
Hold on. Did I get to that? I didn't get to that, did I?
That's funny because the Collector Collection was on that list.
Yeah. Do you think if they make the Collector 3, they'll make Arkin a bad guy? I feel as though they're going to do that. Screw that sequel.
Well, long story short, the weird thing about that is they started making it years and years ago with Tom Atkins was actually in it as well as the guy who Josh Stewart and others. Then they ran out of funding, and then they had to just dissipate and drop the film. And they're trying to make
The financiers backed out.
You don't need a third one. The second one ended it perfectly. I quite like both of them. I like them better than the Saw films.
I would agree. Yeah,
I do too. Yes.
And I think the second ended it in an interesting way, in a unique way. You don't need a third one unless they'll do it because they hope to make more money. Which, I mean, they weren't really big hits in the first place, but I guess streaming and stuff. So,
yeah.
No, it'd just be probably the same old, and they just guy kills a bunch of people, then leaves sequel bait ending to have, I don't know, a TV show. Probably they always make TV shows. Like they had the I Know He Did Last Summer TV show, which I never watched because I didn't even know they had a show. And now they're doing the reboot. And yeah, Matthew Lillard, we already talked about he's doing Stream 7 and 8 and that whatever the hell it's gonna be in the future.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't even know where you could go with Arkin though. Like that, like you said, it was wrapped up pretty well at the end.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Well, I'm kind of interested in what they would have done, but hardly ever anything turns out good these days. So it's like, if they don't make it, I could live without it. I'm fine with 1 and 2.
I mean, now they probably try to make it now because success of Thanksgiving, Terrifier 3, and slasher films. So I don't want them to make it, but it's also why they're keep doing stream films, why they're doing I Know He Did Last Summer reboot, why they're doing other stuff. And Matthew Lillard, like his character died, got hit with the fucking TV.
No, he lived.
No, I mean I got hit with the TV. I'm alive.
He's fine. I just love this comment. I want to rewind back to 2022 and make the plot of Collector 3 revolve around white fragility. Yeah, that's what everything was at that time. Oh, God. So we're 2 hours and 30 minutes in there. So,
oh wow,
I didn't realize that went by pretty quick because we were talking about like all that stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll definitely bring this back at some point and like talk about like some of the other ones because there's so many that we didn't even get a chance to really like talk about just due to the time. But yeah, Matt, I know you've got some shit going on.
Yeah, tons of requested yet too, thanks to people out there. So I'll be uploading on a daily basis. Uploaded a bunch of videos, including reviews of The Tunnel, Zombieland, other films that I do like. Pink Floyd's The Wall still holds up today. Sally did watch The Pest for a commentary, and that was...
Motherfucker, I could have told you, avoid Leguizamo. like all the time.
I knew it was bad. It was requested, so I had to do it. But
No,
I hope to God someone requests you guys the pest.
What
I
day
hope
did
to
you
God.
watch that?
I don't know. I uploaded it.
Like this week, though?
Yeah. Why?
That's so weird because I watched it too.
dude, y'all just like glutton for punishment or something.
I got paid requests for it. Why did you watch?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I was going through, like on the OLED, I don't have cable, but on the OLED TV, it's like internet channels basically. And I'm scrolling through and I was putting something together. It was like a display thing. And I just needed something on, and there was literally like nothing on. And I was about to turn it off or just go to YouTube. And as soon as I saw that it was right at the beginning, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta watch it. Gotta have it on. So it was kind of like on in the background. I wasn't paying attention to it too much. I've seen it before anyway. So
It's one of the worst comedies I've ever seen in my life.
what the fuck? Who gave them money for that?
8 million.
How? Like,
I
There
think
was
because
oh,
go ahead. I was going to say, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to say there's a really brief period of time where for some reason John Leguizamo had like a little bit of popularity and he actually had him fucking starring in movies. I don't know why to this day he sucks.
comedic genius. That's why.
The stand-up comedy he did back then sucked, which is where he got a lot of that from. I don't know if you've ever seen his like stand-up, but he had the one where he like
No.
dressed up in all the costumes and shit like that, and like would come out and do bits of like characters. God damn, that's one of the most annoying comedy specials to try to watch. Somebody request that for Rambo.
Oh,
Get a chance. See what he thinks about that.
I think what had happened was just as I'm watching it, I couldn't think of anything else to say. So it was just thinking of it. In the 90s, that's when you had up and coming new comedy stars Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley. Just 94, 95, that's around the same time with Billy Madison, Tommy Boy, Ace Ventura, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Around the same time, 2-1 Food came out, and he was nominated for a Golden Globe, John Leguizamo.
That makes sense.
So I think people saw that, and then they want a new star. So they think this is going to be a goofy, silly Ace Ventura type of comedy. And it wasn't. It was a horrible.
All the racist,
movie.
like stereotype jokes are like, it's crazy that they got away with all that, but it was the 90s. So can do that now.
Yeah.
You actually did. If you go back to the very beginning of the show, you'll see the slipcover rip.
You missed it at the beginning. But yeah, I got that uploaded and more reviews to come, including Sniper, which I think is pretty underrated film from the 90s with Tom Berenger.
That's a great film.
Weirdly enough, that has 10 sequels. There's 11
I had
Sniper
no idea.
movies. Yeah. They just made one a couple weeks ago.
So at this point, who's in them? Like, I know it ain't fucking Tom Berenger anymore.
He was in a
Michael Madsen.
couple. Billy Zane was in a couple. The second and third one had Tom Berenger. I didn't see the others, but Billy Zane's in the fourth. They create this character who's Tom Berenger's son, Chad Michael Collins, I think is the actor's name.
Oh my
and then
God.
he's the star. And then like Tom Berenger came back for a few, Billy Zane came back for a few, Dennis Haysbert. So it's a major league reunion. He's in a couple. But yeah, Chad Michael Collins is the son of Tom Berenger's character. But yeah, 11 Sniper movies now, including one this year.
Yeah.
Does that one have Patrick Kilpatrick in it?
I don't know. I think Arnold Vosloo from The Mummy's in the new one.
Patrick Kilpatrick's the bomb.
Yeah,
That's right.
he's the Sandman. Kicked up the Sandman. But many more to come. How about you, Marq?
The main thing I'm doing tomorrow is the Royal Rumble stream with you guys. And I'm assuming you'll be in there.
I think I will. Like, I hope I will.
Oh, buddy, you better show up now. It's the Rumble.
I mean, I just don't know enough about fucking wrestling anymore to like. I love the Rumble just as a pay per view. Like, that's my favorite overall pay per view.
The gimmick is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but I
That's
just don't know
fun.
enough about that shit nowadays
Mhm.
to really talk intelligently about it. I don't follow the storylines anymore.
Yeah.
Same
I know what you
here.
mean. No predictions anyway. Nothing.
Wouldn't even know. I mean,
Mm.
well, for the women's Royal Rumble, I know that it's been predicted that Becky Lynch will come back and Charlotte will come back. So the theory is that you'll have Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and probably like you'll have the 4 horsewomen, like the ones that they can get anyway, like there.
Mm-hmm.
And who else was it? I'm betting Jordan Grace will be like in there as well.
sure.
So that'll probably be the last 3 people that'll be in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And from where it goes from there, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't think Jordan Grace will win that. I think it'd probably be like Charlotte Flair if I had to guess.
God, I'm so.
Mm.
If she never came back, I'd be fine. I'm not a big Charlotte Flair fan.
Yeah, well, she looks completely different now, so it's like a whole new person. She's had so much fucking plastic surgery now that like
she looked like a different person last time she was there.
Yeah. And then for the men's, I mean, it's got to be Punk, doesn't it? Like,
probably. I mean, it better not be fucking John Cena because I know he's going to be back in it.
So I think CK actually predicted it would be, or somebody predicted it would be seen on that show, that last show we did talking about it.
I just messaged CK earlier and I told him like it better not be fucking John Cena winning. I might have, dude. That seems like more of a Vince move though, you know, than like a Triple H move to have Cena win, at least in this, era.
It does, yeah. You're right.
We'll see though.
I don't know. Would people like that, do you think, or would they fucking completely shit on it?
I think they'd shit on it, honestly.
I do too. Like, I don't think that would go over.
He doesn't need it. Like,
right.
Well, there's this theory, Mark. I don't know if you've heard it yet, that like they want to send him out with like one last epic match. You know what I mean? Like they want him to have like one last, because everything he did for the company, like this last WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
I hope to God that's not true, but like,
I mean, he could have a big match. I mean, I'm fine if he faces Roman or something. They don't need a championship. Like that's a big enough match on paper. Like it would sell itself, Cena versus Reigns at Mania for Cena's last match. I'm okay with that.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just like the matches themselves. Like I like the whole idea of the match.
Yeah.
I went back and watched like the Royal Rumble from, I think it would have been like 89 through like 92 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And those were like, some of them were fucking shit, but like some of them were classics, man.
Yeah.
The 92 one is the best. Like people always say that all the time, but the 92 one is of the ones of that era.
Is that the one Flair one?
Yeah, that's the Flair one. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one.
But there are some decent ones. But like back then, it was a lot of rest holds, man. And like they didn't even try to make things exciting. While the Royal Rumble was going on, there'd be like 10 guys in there, but they're all holding some sort of rest hold, just locked in a corner somewhere for just waiting. Anyway, so for us over at Dead Pit, Mark, you mentioned that thing. Do you have anything going on your channel?
No, that's it. No, I'll be streaming it to mine, I think. So, but that's all it. Right.
For Dead Pit, there's the interview with Severn founder David Gregory, Severn Films founder David Gregory, that's coming up Sunday at 10. It's a great interview. It's over an hour and a half long. That will be the uncut interview that you can access through the Patreon. I think that there'll be a cut interview that will be airing on the show. But like I said earlier, we talked to him about everything you can think of, from the controversies around like the stuff that happened with Universal and Cruel Jaws, which is great. The stuff that happened with Four Flies on Grey Velvet, which is great. The stuff that went on with Opera, which is great. The stuff that went on with my dick demon, which is still not erect. We talk about that and just go through the whole gauntlet of stuff. And it's definitely one that I think has turned out really, really well.
That's true.
So yeah, check that out on Sunday. By God.
Give a Twitch shout out to Greg in the chat. He sent me this very nice gift. Oh wow,
yours is fine. Yours is fucking fine. That makes me so mad.
I didn't know you had one, Mark.
That's right. We'll see if we can get a zoom on that.
Look at this.
I'll hold it like this. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Like that.
Let's just showcase this.
That's how he should be.
This is flat.
When did you buy that, Mark?
Fuck.
Probably when he bought his. I mean, they weren't available that long, I don't think. So yeah, it's.
I can't wait till you hear like some of the shit he says about this too. Look at that. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yours is in the Matrix, I guess.
I don't know. One of these days I think I actually like it better like this. I would try to fix it, but like fuck it. Yeah, so check that interview out. But that's the big thing that we got coming up. And then of course the Royal Rumble WrestleManiacs thing too. So until that time, I guess so like not PC to say about this particular show, but everybody dies. But Friday Night lives.
That's right.
Let's see, guys.
Yeah.
I want all these people to click everything they're supposed to click.
You haven't been liking them, you haven't been subscribing to them, you haven't clicked the bell or notification or anything like that.
Folks, why don't you click the like button?
Do you hate us? Do you not want to see us succeed?
Why don't you click the heart button?
Is this something that you have against our particular show?
Why don't you subscribe?
You should click on one of them buttons right now if you want us to continue to bring greatness into your life.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit radio shirts. You can get Last South on the left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're going to love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. You know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
Here's what other fucking Patreons do. They're like, hey, give us money and then we'll let you see a video early that we're going to release like a fucking week from now. And then that's all we're going to give you. Meanwhile, we have a literal jukebox full of songs, thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram. And help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So deadpitonpatreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only